welcome back to another episode of Garden State Growing. Once again, my name is Eric, and today I wish the dogs would shut up just for a little bit. But today I've got to put the peppers in the garden. But what I want to do is I want to take a couple of these peppers. Now, if you're new to this channel and you don't know, I bought some seeds from Spain. I'm sure I didn't have to go all the way to Spain to get them, but he was the only guy that was actually willing to sell like a collection of seeds. And he did send me 16 different varieties, but I believe only 9 of them or 10 of them germinated. I do have some empty cells here, which is unfortunate, but I think I got enough of each one that I'll be okay. But what I want to do is I want to take a couple of these and I want to treat them a little bit special. I don't want to just throw them out through the garden bed. One, because I have limited space in the garden bed, and two, I want to have a couple of them up here on the deck. You know how I like to have my gardening stuff convenient. The more convenient it is, the more I'll check on it. The more I check on it, the healthier the plant usually is. So I do want to take a couple of these, put them into pots up here on my deck while I'm awaiting having my greenhouse built. I don't have the time and I don't have the manpower to put it up just yet. It looks like it's going to be something that's going to happen in the fall sometime. So anyway, let's move on. So let's take a look at the different kinds that we have here. We have the 7-pod, I believe it's called Chukanawas. Yeah, that's a hard one to pronounce. I'm really bad at pronouncing long, stupid names. So we have a big Jamaican, Scotch Bonnet Trinidad. Boy. We have the 7-pod Nerby. Now I heard that the 7-pod is a hot one. We have the Brazilian red ghost pepper, the super hot Nagoboa. Okay. The Bucalochia. I definitely want to pot one of them up. The Marawero, super hot. Mab Awero. I'll try to put the spelling up on the thing. And I have the all right, so I think I've made my decision here, which is obviously the tallest and the most luscious looking one out of them all, the super hot big Jamaican. I do have one of these that, so a lot of these cells that I planted have like 2 plants growing in them, and I'm gonna have to gingerly separate them. You can do that with peppers. You can gingerly separate the roots and replant them. It's not ideal. It's not the best for the plant. They're definitely going to go through some type of shock because of that. But that's just the way it is. So let me find some, I need to find some labels here first before I do anything else. All right, I got my label. Sorry about that, guys. I always forget something. So we have this is, I'm going to write this down, big Jamaican, and I am going to list that as a super hot. And it's real funny because I'm looking at the dates, and I started these plants on 3/7, and, and they're not getting into a pot or the ground until 5/15. That is just pathetic. I'm sorry, but that is just absolutely pathetic that it took me that long to do this. All right. So now peppers are in the nightshade family. They are related to tomatoes. And if you remember when I plant my tomatoes, I will literally like cut off most of these bottom leaves and then bury it down as far as I can. If you notice on a pepper plant, it doesn't have those little cilia, those little root growth hairs along the stem. That is where it differences from tomatoes. It will not grow roots all the way up the stem, so you don't want to plant it as deep as you can. So I'm going to start this off like I start off all my pots. Oh, before I do that, I want to show you what is the one rule that I have about planting in pots. Make sure that you have holes on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that, but it looks like there's no holes on the bottom, but there are. The problem is that they're covered with, that was disgusting and it smells. They're covered and it's on me. Oh my God, it stinks. So now that I remove that, what I call that is that's your indoor disc. That's so if you put this planter on like a windowsill or a shelf or something inside your house, you're not going to destroy the countertop when water spills out of it. But since this is an outside planter, I do not want that on there. I want this protected because There may be a day where it rains super hard and it just fills this pot up with water. It has nowhere to go because it has that little stupid thing on the bottom of it. All right, so this way now, if you can see, there are holes in the bottom to allow to drain. I am happy because that is an outside plant. If I overwater or if it rains too hard, it will drain out the bottom. I'm just gonna take some of my easy straw and put it on the bottom. I do this for a couple reasons. One, it's gonna allow for super drainage. Two, the straw is actually gonna absorb some of that moisture, and without making a pool at the bottom, it's going to retain some of that moisture and allow it to re-soak back up into the soil, just in case there's a drought or I forget the water or anything like that. It will have an extra reservoir of moist straw, not soaking wet straw. All right, so I filled it up about 3/4 of the way full, and that's fine because it's going to compact down when I add my mix to it. Again, it's gardening soil, cow manure, peat moss, vermiculite, perlite. And here I'm just gonna pack it down. I'm not trying to pack down the soil as much as I'm just trying to pack down the straw on the bottom, because I will just go right ahead and break this back up. Now I don't have to fill it up all the way. An inch or two from the top. It's going to leave me room for some more straw mulch on top. Just make sure that we get a tag in here. I'm going to open up a pocket, and then the easiest way to find out how to bury these at the correct depth is to leave it in its cup, and then you can dig, lift it up, correct it with its cup in there. Now that's going to just make a perfect space for when I lift this up. If you can see, it made a perfect space for my plant to go in. Okay, not too root bound. Matter of fact, I mean, they're not spinning around, so they're doing good. I could loosen this up a little bit, but I'm not going to go crazy. And it's a perfect fit. I'm just going to bring the soil around just a little bit, press it down. I am going to pack it in there just a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a little bit, a layer of straw on top. You know, not that I have to worry too much about weeds when I'm planting in a pot up here like this, but it is going to protect it from thermal burn of the soil. It's going to help to thermoregulate it, help, you know, prevent weeds, and it's also, again, it's going to hold moisture and allow that to, so the pot does not evaporate what moisture it has in it as quickly or as readily if I didn't have this on here. So here we go. And now here's I feel when we are planting, upplanting, transferring, a lot of people will do like 6 of these pots and then they'll come back in the water all 6. I do not like that, and I'll only tell you why, because I've noticed that like once you remove a plant from whatever home it's been in already, it will immediately start to wilt within, you know, 5 minutes. It will literally start to wilt and start to suffer. So I immediately come, I'll put this on my lowest setting, let's see, and I'm just going to come around and I'm going to give it a good water. I'm going to let it soak in for a little bit, make sure I get down by the roots. And this initial time while I'm watering, I'm going to give it like a good 5-minute soak or whatever. I'm going to let it I'm going to let all that soil start to reabsorb. If you've ever tried to water really dry soil, it actually repels the water first. You have to kind of let it soak for a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just put a little water in here and I'm going to let it all soak. I'm going to do this for every pot that I plant. And then at the end, I'm going to come and I'm going to soak them all down to the point where I actually see water start to drip out the bottom of the pot. So I'm going to move this aside And I'm gonna do the exact same process for about, I don't know, I think I have 4, maybe 5 pots, for about 4 or 5 more of these peppers. And then I'm gonna take it down to the bed and we're gonna put them into the ground and you're gonna see how I plant those. So before we move on to going down into my bed, I did want to show you this one example. What happens when you want to plant in a pot that you've already planted something in last year? It's overgrown. In this case, it is parsley. As you can see, it bolted. It went to seed. I'm just gonna go and tear this plant out. This was a volunteer plant that my neighbor had gave me a couple years ago. It did produce some really good parsley the first year. And then after that, it kind of petered out. You know, it was getting to, I guess, the age of the plant. Parsley will return every year, but they do have about a 3 to 5 year lifespan, where after that, they will do nothing but just go to seed. So that is where this plant has gone to. I would just toss it, but if I did all of these seeds, I would have plants growing all over my yard, so I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to take this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the soil. I'm going to assess this soil. I see a lot of humus. It still looks very moist. I see a lot of perlite. It's not bad at all, but what I can almost guarantee is that most of the nutrients out of this soil has been taken up. But it doesn't. It looks great. There's a lot of roots in here. This is all going to just decompose and add more nutrients to the soil. So the only thing I'm really going to do, a lot of the times what I'll do is I'll take half of this soil and I will just go right ahead and remove it. But now that I'm looking at the condition of the soil, it does look really good. So the only thing I'm going to do right now is add a healthy handful of this Dr. Earth's tomato fertilizer. I'm going to treat my peppers just like I do as far as fertilizing, just like I do my tomatoes. Since they are in the same family, I'm just going to add the same nutrients to it, maybe a little bit more. I'm probably over fertilizing, but since this is such a neutral and organic and safe fertilizer, I don't mind going a little bit overboard. So that's what I'm going to do to prepare this pot that has been used for a different reason last year. As you can see, I have my other peppers here out in front of me. Yes, I am going to stake them. Even though pepper plants have the ability to support themselves without being staked up, once you start growing peppers on it and it starts ladling down the entire plant, you're going to wish you had some kind of staked up trellising or staking up method for these plants. Yes, I did add fertilizer, the Dr. Earth's tomato fertilizer to all of these plants. Now the only question left is, do I top my my pepper plants or not? And no, I'm not going to. Why? Last year I ran an experiment on topping my pepper plants and not topping them. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, I didn't see much of a difference in the production of the peppers on the plant. The only thing I did see was the ones that I topped were short and bushy. The ones I didn't grew tall and long. But as far as the amount of peppers that they grew on the plant, it didn't really make that much of a difference. The only thing I found personally was that the ones that I topped and became short and bushy, I had a hard time harvesting from them because they were all competing with each other. Maybe I planted them too close together, but the ones that I didn't top and grew long and kind of lanky and still produced the same amount of peppers, they were much easier to harvest because I didn't have to crawl through another pepper bush to get to the peppers that I wanted to get to. So I have this. I'm going to do this with a couple more of these peppers, and then we'll finally make it down to the bed and we'll take care of that. All right, everyone, so we're down here at my garden bed, and obviously, as you can see, it has been a while. I prepared this bed about a month ago, and some grass decided to grow up, but it's not a big deal. I mean, since I laid down the straw, the grass has not really had the opportunity to take root actually in the soil. They take root in the straw, so it's very easy to just come along and pull them out. So all right, that's good enough for this spot for what I'm going to show you. So it's not really going to be that much of a difference between planting in the planters or in the bed. The only difference is I prepared this bed a month in advance to allow it to acclimate and absorb all the nutrients that I added. I already did add fertilizer to this, but I'm going to add just a top dressing when I plant these. And I'm going to do like the cubic foot method. So like right here, I'm just going to estimate this. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm going to say this is like 12 by 12, and I could put one plant here, one plant here, one plant here, move it over, 1, 1, 1, move it over a cubic foot, 1, 1, 1. So that's basically all I'm going to do. So I'm going to just remove this straw that I had put in here. I'm going to add just a little bit of soil, and this is only basically to bring it up to match grade. It has really nothing to do with absolutely planting the plant. I just want everything to be level when I do it, and there's such a thick layer of straw on top. So I'm just going to add a little bit of soil, and then I'm going to pick out, let me do a Brazilian Ghost Red, because this is one of those ones that I separated from another plant. It has been damaged. It is going to go through stress. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to put it in here like that. It already has been fertilized, this whole bed, but I'm going to add just a sprinkling on top. And then I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to move the straw back in and make sure I label it perfectly. So there we go. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to do this with the rest of the plants. Let's see. Let me show you this one. This is the Bucolotia, okay? And I have 2 of these here in one planter. I'm going to show you how I separate them. It's ugly. It looks very ugly the way I do it. So I get about a foot. I'm going to go right about here. Let me move all of this straw aside. Once again, I'm going to just loosen this up, throw in a handful of dirt or soil. Are you ready for this? This is the part that hurts me the most. So I'm going to just try to pick a line between the 2 plants. Not going to be that big of a deal. And yes, they are going to break. Oh, that sucked. Yeah, that hurt. But anyway, so here we go. I'm going to throw this. I'm going to just make a pocket. A little bit of fertilizer, and I'm going to sit there and pack that down. Yes, pack it down. I'm going to pack it down. I'm going to move the straw back in. Make sure I label that. Bang. And that's really it. There's not much to it. I mean, I am going to come back and I'm going to stake these up. Of course, I just don't have the stakes right now. I fertilized them. I'm going to water them in real quick. And I'm not going to top them. I'm just going to let them grow the way they are. I would rather them grow tall and produce the same amount of fruit that they do if I cut them and made them short and bushy. So let me get through the rest of these, and then I have another tray up there that is peppers, but it's not super hot. It's like bell peppers, it's like jalapenos, poblanos, stuff like this. Everything I've been putting in the ground right now so far today, this video, is the super hot peppers that I'm not exactly sure what exactly I'm going to do with it. So I'm going to take care of this bed. Grogu was very mad that I didn't invite him into the video earlier today. So he just kind of popped up, but he is helping me out now, and we'll be good to go. So let me take care of the rest of this bed, and maybe I'll bring you in for a shot at the end. Okay, so here we have the southeast-most part of my bed. It does not get full sun all day. It does get 90 or 80% full sun. So this is where I planted my super hot peppers. We're gonna see how these grow. I do have a bed upstairs that I'm going to put a couple more of these peppers in here. And remember, I did put a lot of the special peppers in pots, so don't forget to watch that part of this video. So I'm gonna go up to this other bed. I'm gonna stop this video here. We're gonna have a great time, and if you did like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and ring a ding ding. And we're gonna take care of this pepper bed. We're gonna go up there next. We're gonna put in, I already have my fennel in. We're gonna put in my kohlrabi and some of my other brassica plants. And we'll put in the rest of these peppers. So I love you. I will see you on the next episode, and have a great evening. All right? Bye-bye.
I'm walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting strong.
I already called not helping.
Call not helping?
No. I call ignoring you.
I've been all around.